I get asked all the time, what should I buy for my first camera? And my answer is always start with your phone. Because if you can make your iPhone look good, you can make anything look good. So in this video, I'm going to compare the iPhone to a $6,000 Pro setup, and I want to show you guys what's possible when you pair the iPhone with the gimbal and you use it with intention. All right, guys, let's talk about the Hohem iSteady V3 Ultra. So you guys might be wondering, like, why is he including a gimbal into this? For me, obviously, you can shoot handheld or a tripod, and there's a lot of techniques that you can use to still get cinematic shots. But when filming, run and gun stuff, and you're trying to keep it simple, a gimbal can really put your mind into that frame set of creating more intentional movements. All right, so now you guys can see we're on the gimbal. And immediately when we started to try to do this shot, we had to take a beat to figure out what we're gonna do. We started to use more intention behind the shot. It wasn't just random hand movements. So while it does look more cinematic and more like Hollywood, it's not simply about that. It's, it's less distracting to the viewer. And now you guys are listening closer to what I'm saying. With all that said, let's go over how the iPhone gimbal is gonna work for all of this. So I know a lot of people are gonna also say, the iPhone already has great stabilization. They in fact do, but still exactly everything I just said, there's still a lot of intention that a gimbal can bring, and it does make it more smoother. And while, I did partner up with Hohem to do this video, there is a lot of features on here that also make a gimbal even more useful, utilitarian, and capable, even when using an iPhone. So, but anyways, before we get into the gimbal and start talking about all that stuff, let's go over our first shot, and that's gonna be the iconic reveal shot that I absolutely love doing almost in every single video. It's almost played out for me, but I can't help it. I like it. Let me show you how I do it with both cameras. So guys, on the Hohem gimbal, it actually shows you which direction to put the lenses. So yeah, I simply just put it on there. Again, we'll do a whole section where I go through this even more, but I'm just gonna turn it on right here. If I wanna go into portrait mode, just click right there. So let's do a reveal shot. I'm gonna start from the sky, and then I'm going to tilt down. And then from there, if I click left, I have this camera view on the gimbal as well. Again, we'll go over everything and how this screen pops off and everything. You guys will see it's actually really fun. As I walk in and do a push in while tilting down on the camera, I'm also going to go and tap on the back of the screen here on the Hohem gimbal, and the AI tracking, when I start doing my orbit, it'll start doing the rest of the work for me. It's kind of crazy. In this setup, we could really get a really high-end cinematic results. Obviously with an iPhone, if you do it with a bigger camera, it requires a way bigger investment. Even if you get a more affordable mirrorless camera, everything they have to tack on and everything and all the rigging, it's still gonna, end up being a bit complex and over convoluted. That's a word. Yeah. So guys, sadly I forgot my NDs for the iPhone at home. That is another magic trick, is using the actual 180-degree rule. We're not gonna be able to do that on this. So immediately gonna make the professional setup look better, honestly. I'm gonna put the gimbal into pan, tilt, follow mode. So you can see we have a pan follow. So if we go side from side, it'll follow that, but if we tilt, it won't change. If I go to pan, tilt, follow, now the tilt will also change. We're on a really rocky terrain right here. So the gimbal, once again, is going to help smooth it out on top of how good the iPhone already is with stabilization. So you guys saw on the little screen on the back of the Hohem gimbal, I swiped left, and now I see the image that the gimbal's seeing. So once Jericho's back in the frame, I'll be able to highlight and double tap on him, and then I can walk wherever I want, and the gimbal's going to do the rest of the work. So let me show you guys right here. I'm going to start pushing in. I'm going to tilt down. There's Jericho. I'm going to double tap on the back of the screen here. Now it's tracking him. So I could keep walking forward and the gimbal's going to track him. Again, I'm walking forward and it's still tracking him. So now that we did that shot with the gimbal and the iPhone, let's do it with the Pro gimbal and the Pro camera. And I'll show you guys how much more effort it takes. But obviously it's going to look better. It's a $6,000 setup. I would hope it looks better than a freaking iPhone. This thing's heavy, obnoxious. This is what we've been having to use for years now, just because it's the only way to do it. But in order to balance this out, this took me about 30 minutes last night to try to get as good as I could. You guys saw on the iPhone setup, I just slapped the iPhone on it, opened up the gimbal. It was good to go. I didn't have to balance or anything like that. So again, if you guys are looking for a Pro setup, there's a lot that comes with it. A lot of the times when we use a gimbal on Pro shoots, we do everything the day before. We make sure all the bugs are figured out. We make sure the rig is dialed in, and this thing can expand. This turns into a giant rig, usually on bigger jobs. So where if you're just using an iPhone, it makes it way easier. It just does everything for you practically. Real quick on the setup, this is a Lumix S1 II. This is one of the best hybrid mirrorless cameras out on the market right now. It's fairly new. This is their 50 millimeter 1.4. You can see how big this lens is as well. And then we have this pro level gimbal here. I think the gimbal itself is around $1,100. And so we're over $6,000 in right now. That's not even counting the SD cards, the VNDs on here, and all the little accessories that we could use to start building this out. There are accessories I could throw onto here to do AI tracking and all that, but they're all additional things that you have to purchase on top of it. So I'm gonna have to manually do all this here. I gotta do my ninja walk now. There we go. Autofocus just hit Jericho. It's losing him. It's back on him. And now I'm having to actually look where I'm going. Again, there are AI attachment things I could put on this. And I was trying to get it for it, but they're not in stock. But you guys can see I'm having to really pay attention where I'm walking, where I'm stepping, and also making sure my frame's still on there. I have years of experience of doing this, and it's still incredibly stressful to me to operate a gimbal. We're on the iPhone. You guys can see I was kind of just like, oh, look what we're doing. Cool. You could do similar things on more professional gimbals like this, but you have to start building it out. You have to start rigging things on. You have to start buying extra accessories and stuff, which is great. If you're somebody looking for a more professional setup, assuming you have the money to start investing into a more professional setup. But if you want to keep it simple and you're looking for your first camera, you guys are seeing the difference. Obviously, putting NDs on the phone is really going to help. It's going to really allow you to get more of a cinematic motion to it. But, you know, I've got them, so it is what it is. Another tip, too, is before you start your action, you want to start walking beforehand, because in your edit, when you start cutting into your different shots, it'll already have that fluid motion. If you call action and your camera's not moving yet, you might have to edit that slight awkward pause, and it's going to kill the cinematic flow of it. All right, guys, let's talk about the Hohem iSteady V3 Ultra. It's real easy. You simply just open it up and then you want to turn it on. But before you do that, what's great about this, you can use any phone. It doesn't have to be an iPhone. It doesn't have to be the iPhone 16 Pro Max with the cool... Again, there's a little sticker right here that shows you which direction to put your phone in. So I'm just going to slide that in right there. And then we're just going to turn it on, and you guys are going to see zero calibration, zero balancing. It just turns on and it's ready to go. Magic. And then we have the little AI attachment here. This is going to be the most important part, in my opinion, to this whole setup here. So from here, I can reframe on the gimbal here with the little joystick. Let's pause real quick. How sick is this? I could take this little thing off the gimbal, and now I could basically treat this as if it's like a filmer for me. So, you know, where Jericho's cost me an arm and leg today to help me out, I could just replace him with this if I need to. He's laughing behind the camera. What's cool though is I'm going to double tap on myself on the screen here, and now it's going to track me. So I'm going to just click record. So now my iPhone's recording me now. And when I get up, let me hand this off to Jericho actually. And then from here, I could just walk and the gimbal's going to track me. And my phone's recording. Again, I wirelessly clicked record from the remote over there. Again, I'm gonna make sure I don't step on any rattlesnakes. I have horrible luck with rattlesnakes, so I don't wanna go too deep into the woods here, but yeah, how dope is this? So not only can you take this off and use this to, you know, recompose, stop and start recording, have it track you, but also when you're actually operating the gimbal, you can utilize the tracking to like make your job just way easier. One really important thing that I want to touch on, you have full 360 movement on here. There's some other gimbals on the market to where when you go and spin it, it has a hard stop. This thing you can just keep spinning it. It makes it way easier. I just put it to sleep right there. I'm gonna turn it back on. I'm just gonna double tap the power button and it powers back on the gimbal. From there, we also have a built-in tripod. This is absolutely a necessity. Because again, if you're going to use it to track yourself, to add any attachments or anything, everything that you need is built into this gimbal here. When I swipe right, it goes and shows me the camera view. Now, the camera view that you're seeing on here isn't from the iPhone. It's actually from the little AI camera attachment, which also doubles as an LED light. Personally, I don't care about the LED light. I would never use it myself. I mostly try to, you know, make some cinematic, you know, juicy looking imagery. So if you're like a streamer and you're vlogging or anybody like that, you're probably going to love this LED light. This little attachment simply just attaches magnetically to the bottom there. So even though this isn't even attached to the gimbal, I can still go and operate. I could put it into vertical mode, or I could put it back into horizontal mode. I could do a digital zoom in. I could go in, I can access all my settings all wirelessly. I wish pro gimbals had a feature like this, because there's so many times where, you know, we got to go spend another couple $1,000s on wireless setups just to, you know, try to operate it. And it's still more of a professional manual experience, where this, a lot more intuitive, a lot more fluid. This is going to make your job a little bit easier when you're trying to film yourself. I will say the one downside is, if you're somebody that loves using the tighter lenses, so the 50mm lens or the 120mm lens on the newer iPhones, the preview on here, the AI camera, it's a lot wider. So even though the AI camera might see you, with how tight you are on the phone, you might not be able to see yourself. So this is going to pair up way better if you're using the ultra wide or the standard wide lens on the iPhone, which I think most people tend to use those lenses on the iPhone. So everything we just talked about, it also does a few more things. Let's quickly go over that, and then we'll start going over our last shot here. So say if you guys didn't want to use this, you can still use hand gestures to start and stop tracking, start and stop recording, and recompose. So to start tracking, you're just going to do the OK sign. And right there, now we're tracking. So I can start walking around and it's going to track me. Now, say if I want to stop tracking, I just put the hands up. What's that one song? Stop in the name of love before you break my heart. So once we start tracking, say if you have a feeling that the composition is not going to be good, I'm going to put up the double L's and I'll put it back up. And I was able to recompose myself onto there. If we want to start and stop recording, we could do the hang loose thing. And that's going to start and stop recording. Then last but not least, if you want to switch to portrait mode, I'm going to give it 2 thumbs up. And now we're in portrait mode. So Jericho just had a really good idea. He said, he's like, I don't really understand why you're still hiring me. You could just use that for now. So that's a really good idea. So I don't think I'm going to hire Jericho ever again. I think this gimbal is going to be enough just for me to film the rest of my YouTube videos. It's a good idea, Jericho. Let's take a moment to do that same shot handheld on the iPhone. So again, we're going to use the same app, the Blackmagic app. We have the standard stabilization on. I'm going to roll. Now I'm going to do already. This isn't going as well because I'm making sure. I don't know if you can see, Jericho, if you want to pan down here. This is what we're working with.
Pretty steep.
And yeah, I don't care how good the I don't care how good the stabilization is. There's no way that's going to look better than when it was on the gimbal. I promise you guys, I was not purposely trying to make it look that bad.
No. That's how bad he is normally.
Hey, so you guys will see. I'm going to run around Jericho and see. I'm going to try to move semi-fast. This is dope. So I could basically pay attention to where I'm stepping, make sure I'm not going to step on any rattlesnakes or anything like that. And I could trust the gimbal's going to keep following him. So again, this is the whole point of this thing. This is incredibly capable and useful. If you're somebody that wants to get into filmmaking and you don't want to spend crazy money on a whole $6,000 setup, let's do that orbiting shot with the Pro gimbal so you guys can see how much more effort it's going to take. I'm going to actually try to look at all the screens. You'll see. So it doesn't matter what brand of gimbal you're using. This is just stuff that you have to usually deal with, and it's very annoying. I've learned years ago that if you don't tighten down these access points as much as possible, it could cause those micro jitters. It's taken me a moment just to try doing the same. She didn't like that. Whatever I just did, she didn't like that. Again, guys, there's tools to, allow you to track on this gimbal, but yeah, I lost it already there. So, I mean, this looks amazing, but it's definitely taking a lot more work, and I can't go nearly as fast. I'm getting dizzy. All right, that's good enough.
That's hard to do.
It's really hard to do. The whole point of this video is to show you guys if you invest into a professional setup like this, again, this is like $6,600 right here alone. If you invest into a setup like this, you're going to get amazing results, but it takes a lot more effort, and there's a huge learning curve that comes with it. In order to, properly operate a gimbal, you have to put in a lot of practice into it, and you have to learn what it likes and what it doesn't like. But if you're somebody who's, you don't want to spend that much money and you just want to enjoy the process of it and just get good enough results for social media, and you just want to capture it. You don't care if it looks like straight out of Hollywood or if it's just for social media. You could still use your iPhone to learn filmmaking, and you could still push it. If you could get the iPhone to look good, which honestly isn't that hard, but if you could get it looking close to like a high-end camera, once you move on and bump up to a more professional setup, you're going to be able to make that thing sing like a freaking, what is it? Are we allowed to say that anymore? To the fat lady sings? I hope you guys got something out of this. Again, the point of this video wasn't for me to make banger shots. It's more so me allowing you guys to accept that it's okay to use your iPhone. There's very affordable tools out there to make it more accessible and to help you get more cinematic results out of it. It still might look like an iPhone, but it's going to look a lot better when you start, using intention behind it. Though it still might kind of look like an iPhone, it's still going to get you the results when you start learning how to use intention and invest in the tools that help you get closer to that intentional filmmaking aspect of using the iPhone. So that's it for this video. I hope you guys learned something from this video. If you are interested in even more cinematic stuff, go check out some other videos on my channel. There's other stuff where we're using like $20,000 rigs to film pointless stuff, and it looks amazing, but it's pointless. We cut down our iPhone really and put more story into it, and people would have been just as impressed. So that's it. I hurt my knee doing that. This is heavy. It's hurting my shoulder, actually.